I know you, I can feel you with the green of soul. It's more than empty dreams and promises. It's not infecting me no more. When all I say to you is getting gone, you won't be feeling me no more. I know you, I can feel you with the green of souls. When you're not looking at me, I feel so slow. When all those dreams are all our memories, there's not being alone at one. And thoughts of you just bring me down inside. I sing it with the green of souls. I know you, I can feel you with the green of souls. When you're not looking at me, I feel so slow. Get your hands up. It's more than empty dreams and promises.
All right, you guys. Back one more again. My name is Eddie Booz. Welcome to Listening to you guys. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification. Like the video for the content. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let me get that on screen here. You guys are awesome. All right, you guys. My next guest is a singer-songwriter with a voice that grabs the attention of anyone who hears her. She is a phenomenal artist who writes songs with an actual message. I feel like we don't get enough of that today. Her songs are thoughtful and they are executed at a level of vocal and musical precision most singers and bands strive to achieve. Stoked to welcome my next guest, and this is the first time we've actually ever gotten the pleasure to speak. Please welcome to the program, with her amazing song, Heartless, Emily Davis. That was a great video.
Thanks.
Welcome to the show, Emily. How are you?
I am super good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. So, all right. So let's jump right into it here. So you're coming. So what you're doing now? Let's jump into what you're doing now. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Okay. So usually on the show, I like to start off with a little bit of gratitude. Something I'm grateful for. So why don't you tell me something you're grateful for today?
Oh man, I love that. That's awesome. It might sound a little meta, but I'm grateful for gratitude.
I love it.
It's interesting that you bring that up because that's something that's been more on my mind lately. I'm not even saying that to like be, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but gratitude is something that is definitely actually within the last few months been on my heart more. And so, like the other day I woke up early and I saw a sunrise for the first time in a very long time because I'm not a morning person, but for whatever reason I woke up early one day and it wasn't a struggle getting out of bed, and I went outside and I saw sunrise and it was really nice, and it just kind of put my head in the right space. And so yeah, I'm grateful for being here. That's part of it too.
I love that. Cool. I love that. You know, a lot of people, most people don't, you know, it's funny. Gratitude is actually a practiced thing. Yeah. It's funny when people like when I bring this up to a lot of people, they're like, "Oh, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that," and while we are, I think it kind of just goes right by you. I think the actual thought of the question that I'm asking is, "Or what are you grateful for today?" It's kind of like it's just answered. You know, it's like one of those things, like, "Oh yeah, obviously I'm grateful for things," but if you really think about it, like if you practice gratitude, to legitimately every day say thank you for this, and even actively say thank you for something that you may not have materialized in your life at the moment, but you want materialized in your life, and say that thing out loud over and over and over again. It feels weird, but you know what? It doesn't feel so weird when that thing ends up being in your hands.
I think people think gratitude is a momentary thing also. Dude. Gratitude is like you have to really exist in it. It's not just like, oh, it was nice, I'm really happy for that. It's like there's a difference between being glad something happened and having like profound gratitude for it.
You're totally right.
Yeah.
You're totally right. It's a consciousness you have to kind of be in. You know what I mean? Sure. You're gonna have to like put yourself there and like and like I said, it's hard. You know, like the real world. Real world wants to drag you right back into it real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Especially this year. This year makes it infinitely hard.
It's insane.
So. Yeah. But I guess it's also probably a better year to do it too.
Exactly.
It makes it hard.
Exactly. And you know, and that it's exactly right. That's when we gotta kind of just jump into gratitude and be like, all right, like it's just hard. It's not a lot of, and it feels. The crazy thing is that when things are rough, sometimes it doesn't feel like there's a lot to be grateful for. But when you start like writing those things down or acknowledging those things, you really realize that there's a lot more to be grateful for than you may think, and.
Sure.
It changes your biochemistry. It like does something weird to like the way you feel when you are feeling negatively, and you instead choose to acknowledge, you know, gratitude, and you for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, just write down things you're grateful for. I after 5-10 minutes of doing that, you just feel differently. I do. Yeah. I literally like realize like, oh, shit, my biochemistry is like legitimately changed. I feel differently. I don't feel as down, as depressed, as anxious, you know, as panicky as I was 5-10 minutes ago. And I'm actually taking things into my own hands. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that's hard too. You know?
Yeah.
So
I love that.
But yeah, no. So let's get into so I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for your gratitude of gratitude. Yeah. You know. So let's jump into what you're doing now. You just ran a Kickstarter campaign and blew the lid off your goal, right?
Yeah.
So what was your goal? What'd you hit? So far, it's still up, right?
Oh no, it ended. It ended on Sunday.
So it ended Sunday. Nice. All right. So what was your goal? What'd you guys knock out?
We aimed for 8,000 and we got 13,500.
Wow, you went 5,500 over your goal. That is awesome. So okay, so what does that mean for us, the fans? What do we get extra since you went over your goal? We know that you had a couple of things that you were in the works. If you went over, you would do something.
Right. So the first thing we said is that if we made, I'm gonna make sure I get the numbers right here. If we made 9,500, I think I said that we would do a music video. So we're going to commit $1,500 to making a really good music video. You guys just saw one that we did for our last album called Heartless, which I'm proud of, but I want to do something that's just like really crisp and intense and cool. So
Sure.
That is a significant investment anywhere you do it, any way you do it. So I think 1,500 will definitely do what we need to do, get us to have a cool music video. So grateful for that. And then we said we would commit, I think, another 1,500 for hiring PR. PR is a big deal for getting music out there, and so
Very smart.
it's so important. And there's only so much, every time we release anything, I really do try to promote it as hard as I can. But you know this better than anyone. Like there's only so much you can do when you're the proprietary songwriter, when you're pretty much the manager, when you're the social media person, and you're doing all these things as it is, to throw something else on top of it. I work full time.
Yeah,
it's
you got a
hard
job too. You got to pay the bills.
Yeah, it's hard to be able to promote things as fully as I possibly can.
Sure.
So having those funds available to be able to do that is magical. We also said that we would put some money aside for touring. It's going to be kind of hard to know when that will be, but it's our intention to do that. And then we also made it clear that we were hoping to get a few more days in the studio and a little bit more time for mixing. We had budgeted 7 days in the studio and I believe 2 days of mixing initially, but that's to do 7 songs, and that's pretty quick as far as the passing of time. And so to be able to afford a few more days in the studio and a few more days of mixing, it's just going to make a better, I believe, product. It gives us a little less stress and, a little bit more time to create. And so that's really important to us.
As an artist, going into the studio and doing a process where you're recording with an engineer and a producer who's going to be producing you, and you're not going to do it at home, you're not doing this on your own. When you're doing something like that, you are stuck to a clock, unfortunately.
Oh, you are.
And,
absolutely.
You're
married.
Do you find that the pressure of the clock brings us maybe better performances out of you, or pushes these, I don't know, pressured kind of like these, like, I gotta bring the best to the table, you know what I mean, today, and kind of like playing in the playoffs, you know what I mean, for like a professional athlete. As I think, recording it at home, it could be a little less stressful. You have a little bit more time. You can take the takes as many as you want. But going into a studio, especially with a producer and engineer who's good, do you find that to be, something that maybe pulls a better performance out of you?
I don't know. I can kind of see it going both ways. There are bands that, when they have when they're maybe younger in their career, and there's more constraints on what they can do financially or time-wise, and there's more of a hunger and a desperation, I guess, that might be involved with what they're doing. I think that can translate. If we were in some palace, some crystalline palace in California with 2 months available to record and a $100,000 budget, we could probably do some cool stuff, and I would hope that we would still be able to perform in a way that's cool. But I think also because you have this crunch time and this clock that's ticking in the back of your head, and this internal stress, there is a certain desperation involved that maybe does translate. I don't really know. I can say that we did our first album, Same Old World. We recorded 13 songs in, I want to say, 10 days. I think that's right. Maybe, I don't know, actually. Don't hold me to that. It might be less. But we were running out of studio time. We had to pay for more studio time because we didn't book enough. We had to book another. Yeah. We actually had to use a day or two of studio time that we were going to use for mixing. We had to translate that over to recording.
Gotcha.
So I guess my point is that I listen to that album now, and I'm still super proud of it. I think it's a great album, and I think we did what we did with the time we had. I'm very happy for it, and it'd be cool going back to see what would be different if we had a month to do it or something, or But I think what came out of it was good. So I mean, there's so many factors that go into it,
Yeah. But you feel like your vocal performance and your musical performance on that album was solid, though, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I was actually sick when we recorded that album.
Really?
Yeah, I get sick like it seems almost every time we record. I get sick.
Oh,
I don't know
really?
what it is. No, yeah, totally. Out of
Is it
cold.
like a stress just thing? Like you just get a stress cold or whatever?
I might be, honestly, because I do stress out really easily. But yeah, when we were recording Same Old World, like a couple days before I started doing my vocals, I was like, this is bad. I'm sick. I'm coughing. I'm raspy.
Really?
Yeah,
You can't tell
but
on the vocal performances at all. It sounds so good.
I got lucky, but thank you. I think what we ended up doing was I just saved all the really hard vocals for the last day. All the vocals that weren't too challenging, like I think we spent like 2 or 3 days on vocals, and I think the first 2 days I just did all the parts that weren't particularly challenging on my voice to save it and try to give it more time. And then on the last day, it was like, well, I think I feel a little better. Hopefully, we can pull this off. And I just did all the hard belty parts in one morning.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
do you find okay? So, like, it's very rare that I talk to other singers that like really reach for those notes. You know, do
Yeah.
you find that you get stronger with time in a recording session, or do you find that you get the best like out of yourself in the first like hour and a half of a recording session? What do you think?
I don't know. It's funny. Like, there's moments where I have to like take a walk because I'm just not getting it. If I'm not hearing the note I want to hit, or I for whatever reason, sometimes I just gotta walk away, and then you can come back after like a 10 minute like getting out of the vocal booth and nail it. I think that's very important. It's kind of like
Fresh
when you play
ears.
video games. Yeah. It's kind of like when you're playing a video game and you've been playing a video game for 5 hours and you're on a certain level, and you're just like, dude, I know this isn't hard. Why am I fucking this up? I can't beat this
Let me
level.
step away from this for a minute,
And you sleep, and then you wake up the next morning and you go back to that
and
level.
you knock
and
it
it's like,
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, I feel ya. I feel ya. You know, it's weird. Like I actually feel like the longer I sing, the stronger I get.
yeah.
You know, I feel like after an hour and a half, I'm like finally warm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like it's like, you know, I was in I recorded with Cameron Webb down here in Southern California, and when I went into him, the very first day we recorded, we got. I think it was oh, by the way, I get the same stress thing as you do. I used to be I'm an alcoholic. I haven't drank in like 12 years. But when I was recording back then, when I was in Halftime and all these bands, I was so stressed out that I would just drink while the other guys in the band were doing their stuff, because I was so stressed that they weren't going to get every single part perfectly correct. So I couldn't even be present. I would just be drinking, and yeah, the stress of being in the recording booth was insane, you know.
And I mean, when you think about it too, it's like there's nothing more naked instrument wise than a voice.
Dude,
You know, if I play my guitar, you know, I'm not singing the guitar part. My fingers might be goofy, or my hands might be tired or something. I don't know, but it's not coming out of me. You know, it is sort of, but I'm using something else. Like your voice, I feel like singing is just really a state of vulnerability
Totally.
that I think is different than most anything else that you can do performance wise. And so, you know,
you're so
take
right
the
about
brush
that.
before you go into the music booth, you know.
That's one of the main reasons I think you connect with your audience so well, is because of the way you present, the acoustic and a voice, you know, and your voice is so strong, you know, and you have this timbre that people hear it, it's magnetic, and they're attracted to that. It's real.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? It's visceral, you know, and you, like you said, it's vulnerable. You can't fake that. You know, you can't mask that with a bass and a drum part that, you know, will mask a mistake that you made, you know?
People will be able to tell too. Like, I mean, maybe some don't, but I honestly think there's enough people out there, especially people who are music aficionados who listen to albums. They're not like just kind of like listening to the song for the 5th time and singing. They're listening, they're dissecting,
Yes.
you know. I think people know when you're trying to like cover something up or hide something. I think more people than we might realize would hear something like that and go, I know what you're doing here. Come on. So,
Yeah, you're right. People are very observant, you know, to that extent. And as far as music connoisseurs go, you know, everybody listens to music. You know, everybody knows what sounds good and what doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can tell the difference when you walk into a place and you're hearing somebody play, and you can tell they're like really good, you know, singer or whatever. And then they might, you know, go into like a little solo, and their guitar playing might not be, you know, the best. But it's, you know, but it's like, you know, shit, these guys are holding it down vocally, but, you know, like, you know, and then like somebody may step in, you know, one of their guys, their lead guitar player may do a lead. It's like, whoa, that's really good. It's like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, and people have their strengths, you know, and but you're absolutely right. You know, when you're a vocalist, there's nothing to hide behind. There's a vulnerability there, and you're right. When you try and hide something, it's not gonna. It won't. People are going to hear it. They're going. They notice. They know the difference between something good and something not so great. You know, like I said, when the lead singer tries to do a solo and it doesn't sound so great, you know, versus the lead guitar player who rips a solo and everybody in the house goes, oh yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it may feel good to play the pentatonic scale, but when you hear somebody really grab into a solo or something like that, people know. You're right. You're so right. People know.
Yeah.
So what got you into music? Like, why'd you even start? Why did you pick up a guitar? Why did you even start? What was the deal? What drives the music behind Emily Davis?
I don't know. It's hard. I mean, I've always sung. My father, when I was a kid, sang a lot. He was in the Tucson, Arizona Boys Choir as a child, and so he was trained to sing. It was something that he always did around the house. He's got a great voice, and so it's like one of those things, you know, one of the people that influences you and is nurturing you, is doing something that you want to do, you know. I've always kind of like, I'm close to both my parents, but I feel like me and my dad have a lot in common. And I feel like our creativity and our brains are very similar. And so I think that I can't really remember a time when I wasn't singing, and I just attribute that to him. He also, I was raised in a fairly religious home. I'm not religious now, but I was raised in that environment, and so I was at church all the time, and my parents led worship for kids' church, and I saw him play guitar, and that was something that fascinated me. And because I was musical from the start, at least with my voice, I always tried to find an instrument to go along with it, but it was a struggle, you know. I started off on piano and I was bored to death. No offense to piano players out there.
Sure.
Just got bored. That doesn't rock enough for me, although some people can rock out on a keyboard or a piano. I don't know. So I did that, and then I tried clarinet, and that bored me even more. And then around the time I was in middle school, I decided to try out drums, and I loved drums. I had a rhythm.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I started
in
off
middle
on,
school.
really.
You really got into drums, huh? No kidding.
That's why I'm decent at rhythm guitars. I think because I started off really, the first instrument I really like married myself to and really tried to do well at was drums.
I like it.
But you know, I didn't want to be Phil Collins. I wanted to play an instrument and sing at the same time. That wasn't drums. I wanted to make melodies that I could sing to. And so I think it was like my freshman year in high school, I kind of concluded that guitar made the most sense. And because I was because I was in a religious environment and home at the time, I started being involved in worship teams at my church. I led worship for middle school worship team and then eventually the high school worship team. And so that was something that was an extension of that. And then maybe my junior year, sophomore year, I started actually writing my own songs that weren't religious in nature, and that was around the time that I stumbled upon Bad Religion and really got into their music. And so it'll kind of just progress from there.
Really? So you started writing, you know, when you said you were about 17, 18?
No, I think my first like half decent song I wrote, I was probably like 15 or 16.
Wow, nice. Very, very cool. Nice.
Yeah.
So you were kind of musical all through your life. Just, you know, you tried different things. You tried, you know, a couple things before you tried drums. Then you tried drums. I like that. That's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of.
A lot of people who play music as well as you, grew up playing. You know, I started playing my violin at 6 or whatever. You know what I mean? And You know, grew up playing that instrument. You know, and the way you play guitar, you would think that you started at an early age too. So you're very good at what you do. You know, and I think the songwriting thing is a very distinct skill in itself. You know, as you know, apart from performing music, apart from performing and just being a singer, I think that the songwriting aspect of it.
Sure. I mean, there are people who write songs that don't sing well.
Yeah.
Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, you're.
you know, there's people who write songs and they don't even like sing the own songs that they write. There are people that are in bands that, you know, write songs are big part of the songwriting. Well, I mean, I'm trying to think. I don't know. Well, like for instance, Bad Religion. Brett Gurewitz writes half their songs.
Right.
And you know, I think he sung on like one or two of them, but like, he's a songwriter. He's a phenomenal songwriter,
Right.
but he's not singing those songs at the end of the day. You know, Roger Waters wrote all the songs for Pink Floyd. I know that he sang some of them.
Yeah.
David Gilmour clearly has a far superior voice, but Roger Waters wrote every single, you know, well, not every song because he left for a while, but a lot of the songs that David Gilmour ended up singing, Roger Waters wrote. And so, you know, it's just stuff like that. Songwriting definitely is a thing into itself. And I think from a very young age, just loved poetry. I loved words. I loved writing. And so that it just kind of was like, I think, an eventual thing. I had, you know, vocal abilities that I learned from my dad, and I always had a love of words and English and stuff. So it's cool that those two things eventually met. I love writing songs, probably more than anything else I do. So.
Content-wise, you know, you started maybe writing religious tunes when you very first. Now,
yeah.
And then after that, like, where did you kind of progress? Because I know there usually is a progression with people in their songwriting. Sometimes they'll write about certain things, and then they try to move on. And you find a voice. You know, how'd you find your voice, and what would you say that is?
Well, I mean, it started off with me trying to write songs about God, and then, you know, I left the church, and I was in high school. This is gonna sound funny. I was in high school at the height of like the emo craze, or the beginnings at least of the emo craze, or the beginning of the height, whatever. And so, you know, there was a lot of people in and around me who were writing songs about love and heartbreak and things like that, and I was always, you know, I have bipolar disorder. I'm pretty open about it. And so I've always felt things intensely. And I've always expressed things intensely. It's, you know, it's not for any other reason, and that's just how emotion comes out of me, you know? And so you combine those two kind of circumstances. I'm an emotive person. I mean, I'm surrounded by people at the height of this, you know, music fad where everything's emotive as it is. And so I guess for me, the earliest of my songs were kind of in that vein. I wasn't writing like emo, screamo music. But I think there was that kind of, I was inspired by Death Cab for Cutie at the very least, or bands like that in that vein who aren't emo, but they're like, they tread the line between like indie with some of that influence there. And so they were a big inspiration for me back in high school. And so I really just started with stuff like that. And then I fell in love with, I'm going to mention them a lot because they're my favorite band, and it's just going to happen. But I mean, I fell in love with Bad Religion when I was towards the end of my high school, early adulthood era. And, you know, they write songs about all kinds of meaningful shit that go beyond just, I mean, it's wonderful. I still like writing occasional love song or heartache song, and it's not something foreign to me, but it really inspired me to think about other things. And, you know, it was also during a time where there was a sizable shift in my worldview. There was like a deconstruction of how I saw everything and a reconstruction, you know, and so I became interested in synthesizing how I see the world and how I process the world through my art. And so that's become something that I think I enjoy doing, is how do I synthesize the world around me and how I interpret the world around me, and what are my problems with the world around me? What do I want to see in the world around me? And I synthesize all of those things through the music I make. I also think that mental health has become, over the years, something it's always been incredibly important to me because it's something I've struggled with since I was very, very young. In one way or another. I wasn't diagnosed with bipolar until maybe a few years ago, but I had struggled with it for as far back as I can remember, and with mostly depression too, aside of other things, ADHD and other things as well. So I lost a cousin to suicide a few years ago, and some friends as well. And so It's something that I think, if you have the availability to tell people about something that's important to you and to connect with them, if you have a platform and you're able to do that, then find something that you care about and connect with them on that level. I think that's great. And so for me, I think mental health and being open about that and discussing it and writing about it in my art is something that's become pretty important to me as well. So
I love that. That's fantastic. Like I said in the intro, you have your songs are thoughtful. You know what I mean? And I don't feel like they have a message, and I don't feel like we get enough of that today. And with that being said, I would like to show them Semicolon, which
Sure.
again, I told you this earlier, but when I first heard Semicolon, it kind of choked me up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna admit, you, especially with the video. I'll be honest with you, like the video does the I love what you did with the video because it really helps us visually understand, because a lot of people are visual people. You know what I'm saying? And when you just kind of put it out there and like put a couple of faces to the situation and the reality of things, it was like, it was really weird when it started. It was kind of like, okay, I'm like watching this and I'm listening to the music, and then when it got halfway through, I found myself like, okay, like, you know what I mean? I was like, all right, I feel it, I understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was for a long time I thought to myself, like, I understand sadness, but I could never understand such a sadness that you would want to take your own life. And then I went through a depression about 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, and at no point did I have that desire, but at one point in this depression, there was such a low point that I realized, and all of a sudden it all dawned on me, and I was like, oh, I get it, and I understood, and I was like, okay, and it hadn't dawned on me, until I was in this thing, and to be honest with you, I've been in therapy ever since, and I feel like it's one of the best decisions I ever made in my life.
Yeah. Therapy's awesome.
Was to actually talk to someone. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And find the right therapist too. By the way, I went through 2 before.
Yes.
I'm on my third. I found a third, and I've been with her ever since, and it's like it changed my life.
Yeah.
So I'm right there with you. And when I saw this, I know that my problems aren't, maybe as deep as some of these other people's, and people out there, some people think that same way that I just did, like, oh, my problems aren't as bad. Like, never, people out there, if you're listening and you're going through something, don't diminish your own problems because someone out there is going through something worse than you. Get help, talk to somebody, take
Honestly,
your problems seriously.
That's like such a, I feel like, mainstay of people who struggle with mental health issues. I think I don't want to generalize, but I would say this is certainly true for me and most everybody I've ever spoken to who struggles with whatever kind of mental health issue they might have. We all downplay it because we don't want, and I think we do it for a variety of reasons. I think we downplay them because we're scared of maybe admitting that there's something wrong with us, or because we care a lot about what other people think, and we're thinking other people might see us and go, you're being dramatic, you're looking for attention, you're doing X, Y, and Z. And so you don't want to have that perception exist. And so, I mean,
or draw any attention to you like that. You're right.
Oh, yeah. You don't want any attention drawn to you or anything. Like, there's a whole slew of reasons. But I will say this with some confidence. Most everybody I've ever spoken with, and this is absolutely true for me, we all downplay it. We all downplay it. When I got diagnosed with bipolar, I was like, no. Like, I don't have that, and here's why. And I had an answer for there's no way I have bipolar. 1, I had a fundamental misunderstanding of what bipolar is. But 2, it's just, I do it to this day. Like, I see and hear about other people. You see and hear about other people and their own stories, and they seem so visceral and foreign, even though you've been dealing and struggling with the same thing. And it's like, they have it so much worse. I have no even business complaining about my life when they're really suffering, and I'm not suffering like they are. That's not, it's really damaging that we do that to ourselves, and I get really passionate about it, and I bring that up because I did that and I still do that.
You're
to
right.
this day.
I think we all
So-
do. I think people all do that, and I think that they need to not. You're
Yes.
absolutely right. And don't demean your own. Don't demean or diminish your own needs, your own emotional and mental needs. That's one of the reasons I talk about gratitude at the beginning of the show, is just
Yeah.
so we can actually do something to try anything, to
Yeah.
try and not let the external circumstances of life like dictate the way we feel all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know, but anyway, yeah, but you're absolutely right, Emily. You make a really good point, and I actually, to be honest with you, I'm very inspired by what you've done. I'm inspired by the content of what you create as well. Your art is, like I said, it really says a message. I've had a lot of people on the show, and I really, really am proud to show the people who watch this show and anyone out there who might see this later on some of your stuff. So with that being said, let's check out Semicolon.
Yeah. Let's do
Here
it.
we go.
Hi, my name is Emily Davis, and I'm bipolar type 2 and ADHD.
Hello, everyone. My name is John Michael. I was born with autism.
Hi, I'm Jen. I've struggled with my mental health my entire life, and the best advice I have to give is persist.
I know fighting your mental illness can be very hard, and there are days where you just don't want to fight it at all and would much rather give up. But I believe that there are days that exist out there that far outweigh those rough ones.
There is always somebody out there willing to listen.
Keep going. Don't give up. It's worth it.
Keep fighting. You're worth it.
I met a happy medium who said I'd never find one. Got high on drugless bliss just to crash to this tepid existence. But through the days brighter than the blaze that smoked Notre Dame, just to sink beneath the sea that never cold. Surviving in between these towering extremes, I have become a semicolon. What month is it? What day? Christmas bleeds right into May, and I'm forte and a reticence the same. Which night is it? Which moon? The arch stampedes right into June and drags me through the dust till I'm lost, mixtured in between these towering extremes. I have become a semicolon. Semicolon. A semicolon. Mixtured in between these towering extremes. I'm surviving in between these towering extremes. I have become a semicolon.
Thank you.
That was fantastic.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that video. That's really cool. That's something, guys. Too. So where can they find you, and where can they find that video? Where can they subscribe to you? Where can they buy your albums?
Sure. I have 3 solo albums, and then the Murder Police. My band Emily Davis and the Murder Police has 1 album together. We released 5 singles this year, which will be on our album that's coming up next year. And you can find all of that at emilydavis.bandcamp.com. We are on all streaming platforms. If you use iTunes, Amazon Prime, whatever you want, we are there. I do have a YouTube channel. I've been doing punk rock covers on it for like 12 years now. I'm not all the time. I'm kind of lazy, but every now and then I'll put something on.
That's
there,
how I
so
found Emily,
it's-
by the way. Bad Religion covers. Her Generator cover
Yeah.
was through the roof. Anyway, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a long time ago. I think my YouTube channel URL is Emily Davis Official. So yeah, you could find both of the videos you showed today are there.
Cool.
In addition to other music videos, covers, things of that sort. So yeah.
So I have an insight for you and a little bit of a tip. If you do decide to start doing live shows, don't do them on your current channel. Create an Emily Davis live channel, because what YouTube has been, I talked to a number of YouTube content creators who started doing live streams during the lockdowns, and YouTube throttled their uploads, not their live. Their live was fine, but their uploads. See, like, you know how I do punk rock covers too. Most of the punk rock covers, most of the punk rock covers that I upload, they stopped getting the views that they were getting, and my subscribership went down to about 50% monthly of what I was getting. It went down.
Wow.
Yeah, so my viewership went down to about 50% when I started doing live regularly on my channel. And I only found out recently when I spoke with a couple of other YouTube content creators, anywhere between 5,000 and 185,000 subscribers. They all said the same thing. They all experienced the exact same thing. When they started going live, YouTube throttled their channels back. So they're all trying to make live channels for their live content. So don't do that to your content on accident. If you're gonna,
I don't know why they would do. That seems so I hate the algorithm.
weird. It's so weird.
It's like people subscribe to you because they want to see you. Why are you hiding?
I know.
Why are you hiding me from the people who want to see me?
know.
Fuck you. Like, that makes no sense.
I know. I've been talking to him this last week about that. Like, I have, so I don't have that many subscribers. I only have 11,000, but of 11,000, only 8.
That's a lot of subscribers.
Well,
Like,
it's
that's a good
I'm
amount.
trying to grow it, and of those 11,000, like 850 have the notifications put on. But there's no way that 850 people are getting notified every time I go live. That's not happening, because I'm not. I mean, when I go live, I have maybe 300 people watch, and in a night, like throughout the night, I'll maybe have between 15 and 30 watching, or 15 and 40 watching at any time, at once. But at the end of the night, it'll be like, 300 watched or whatever. But it's not bad. But I'm telling you, 800 people are not being notified. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, that's stupid. I'm sorry.
no, you know what? It's all good. Like, I'm just saying, if you do start to do the live thing, try your own channel. Try like a different, like Emily Davis live, music or whatever. I'm just letting you know. I if you do start doing live streams, I'm not sure if you would or whatever.
The real question is, when are we going to do a cover together?
Yeah, I know. We need to.
Here's the real question. We're going to do 2 covers together, and we're going to put one on your channel and one on my channel.
That sounds good. I'm totally down with that, actually. That's perfect. and I have, it's so funny. The other day I was like, oh no, because I saw your post on Instagram the other day, because I contacted you recently because I had this idea, because I've been doing the decline lately. I had this guy.
Well, we don't have to do it, so
No.
we didn't get that number.
Well, here's the thing. I saw you said that you were gonna do the decline with George, right?
Well, we're not now, but
Well,
yeah.
check this out. Well, I'm doing it. I've been doing it on my live streams pretty regularly.
Like you play the whole
I play
song.
the whole song multiple times. If you go and look at the Tuesday night streams, they're on the last 5. I think at least I play it.
That's badass.
Yeah, it's hard. It's not easy, dude. Like,
Yeah.
the transitions
No.
aren't easy, and but
George is gonna play it. I'm just gonna say,
right,
fuck that.
exactly, right. But
Play it.
what I want to do a video with me, you, and like just a bunch of like us, from YouTube, and then some of the people that are on my live streams on Thursdays. And what I'm gonna do is I'm planning on doing a whole video of the decline with me and Bobby K, me and the fiddle player. And then when we get to the very end where it goes, he's got his and I've got mine, meet the decline. Like that part, I want to have my buddy Crumb come walking into frame with his ukulele and play that part. He's got his, and then as we go, da na na na, da na 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 na, and I want to cut to you in Texas singing the "We are the queer, we are the whore," and like cuts a bunch of different people like all over the place.
That'd be sick.
You know what I mean? And just do it one big, like, together, like, everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I've never met or talked to Jen Fiorentino, but I like to call her. I like to call Emily Plamondon. I already asked her from Canada.
I'm she's down.
Yeah, she's already down. Like,
She's the nicest human being.
I know,
so, yeah.
dude. She came out here because
I bet Jen would be down. I don't know.
I'm sure, I would think she would.
She's been, I don't know if she's been like super active lately.
No,
but
I haven't seen her active, but she'd probably be down. At least consider it, I'm sure. I thought about hitting up Kai Smith.
Oh wow.
You know,
that'd be badass.
Yeah, I'm a fan of his, dude. Like,
Oh, he's insane.
yeah, he's so good.
He's insane. That dude is insane.
Yeah, I thought about hitting up Thomas Oliver too. Do you know who he is?
I don't know who
He
that is.
does the most magical version of International U Day on.
Really?
On,
You know what? I have seen that.
he does it on the
because I covered that,
Weisenborn.
right? Yeah.
Dude,
I have seen
get
that.
out of here.
I covered it a few years ago, and I was curious. I was seeing who else had covered it, and I did see
He's
that.
in New Zealand, and I hit him up on Facebook one time, and I was like, bro, I was like, if I ever get married, I want you to fly to the States and sing this at my wedding. And he hit me up. He was like, 100%. He was like, if you get married, he was like, I'm coming. I was like, yes. Dude, no, but I want to get a bunch of people, just a bunch of us. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like there's a couple of other people who do like punk rock covers on YouTube too. You know, there's LA Youth. God, what's her name? The girl who does the ukulele stuff. I can't remember. But there's a couple of like the punk cellist is good. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of good like kind of, you know, people who do punk rock covers. I like to get us all together and do like at least the end of the Decline. You know what I mean? We don't have to do the entire thing, but from the big trumpet part at the end. But that'd be fun. I just thought it'd be a little fun thing. But I'm down. Let's do 2 songs. You know, whatever songs you want to do, I'm totally up for. You want to do some Bad Religion? Let's do something. You know. What do you guys want? Hey, you know what? We'll let the people decide right here in the comment section. You guys decide what you want us to hear. Whichever songs get the most votes, we'll do. Just make sure that at least one of them is a Bad Religion song.
Yeah.
All right.
We could do the Bad Religion song and put it on your channel since I have so many on mine.
I'm down.
And then we could do another punk band and put it on my channel with you.
I'm down. Or we don't have to do Bad Religion. I just thought since you were biggest Bad Religion fan on. All right.
I don't know. That Mike might argue.
Let's show everyone it wasn't a joke. How's that?
I love that.
All right.
Yeah,
So this is another song from Emily Davis and the Murder Police. What was this? Emily Davis and the Murder Police, or was this from Emily Davis?
Emily Davis.
They're all from Murder Police.
Yeah, all 3 of these are.
They're all from the Murder Police. Here we go.
Common decency. I fear I'm severely lacking. I laughed at your joke, but it wasn't a joke. Now I'm choking on the soles of my feet. Think before you speak.
All right, so that was Emily. So that video, some of that video was taken of Emily opening up for Bad Religion. That was badass at the observatory, actually, right here in Orange County. Actually,
Yeah.
that's cool. So you've opened.
And, and there are parts from Soma too, which is in, I guess, San Diego.
Sure. You've opened up for BR a number of times, right?
We went on tour with them last year. We opened for them 16 times.
You kidding? You went on tour with them?
Yeah.
That's awesome. How did that happen? How'd you get that? How'd you work that out?
Well, Jay Bentley has been in my corner and a huge support system for like a decade now, which is insane to me still. But I went to Camp Anarchy last year with George, my guitarist, to see them and NoFX. And we were hanging out with Jay after Jay knew that I had sent Jay a copy of our album when it came out a few months prior, and he really, really liked it. And so when we were hanging out briefly after their set, he had mentioned to me in passing a few times that he wanted to help us, and it was really funny. It was kind of just almost seemed like an afterthought. He was really tired and he was getting ready to like kind of retire for the night, and he just kind of caught us and he was like, "Hey, you want to open for us in the fall?" And me and George are like, "Yeah." He's like, "No, I think what he said, what are you doing in the fall?" And I was like, I'm hopefully touring, I'm not sure. And he's like, "Cool, do you want to open for us for a few fall dates in the South?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Hell yes.
We'll be there. Sure. And he's like, "All right, cool, we'll figure it out." And then he walked away, and that was the last time I saw him that night. And of course, he turns around, and me and George are like,
That's so dope. What? And,
yeah. And then like 3 months later, we were on the road.
oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
That's cool. So when do you get started on the new album?
Next month.
Really? That quick? Okay. So you're just gonna jump right in the studio. You already have dates booked and everything?
We
Look
do.
at you guys, all right. We're looking forward to hearing it. You guys you guys are gonna put out something real awesome. 7 songs, right?
We have 5 that we released this year that we're combining with 7 new ones and calling it an album.
Oh, you're gonna add the 7 together with the 5 that you've released and do a full length. I love it. You got a title for it yet?
Well, I have a couple. I have one that I really like, but I have to convince my bandmates of it. And there's a couple other that we're talking about, so we don't have anything official yet.
Tell
but-
us. We want to know.
Yeah, I can't.
Oh, come on.
I'll message you it, but I don't know if it's going to be the actual.
All right, check it out. I'm gonna mute you. You're muted right now. Tell me right now. Yeah, I swear to God, you're muted. Okay. All right, you're unmuted now. So by the way, I do that when I want to know a secret, because I can get the inside information, but you guys can't sometimes. So I already know what it is, but I'm not gonna tell you guys. So should let you guys know, and if it is what it is, which is an awesome name, then you guys will know.
Hopefully, I get what I want. I like it.
Right.
If not, I'm sure it'll be cool.
The way to get what you want is to just make a Facebook page and an Instagram page of the album and already call it that, and then call George and Jose and say, "Guys, I got the album name." And when you tell them and they say, "Oh no, I don't like that," be like, "Well, the Facebook page is already made and the Instagram page is already made."
Oh, well.
I did that with a band I was in a long time ago, and it was the dumbest band name I ever came up with. But it was I still love it to this day. I was sleeping in a dream. It came to me, and I woke up and I made the Facebook page and the artwork and everything. And then I called my bass player and I was like, "Hey," I got the name for our band, and he was like, "What?" And I said, "Ancient Island Boat Show." And he goes, "We're not fucking having Ancient Island Boat Show as our band name." And I go, "It already is, my man." And that was it. And we were Ancient Island Boat Show from then on, I swear, for like a year. And then he was like, "No, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not being in a band called Ancient Island Boat Show." I'm just kidding. That's not why he left the band. But anyway, Emily, you've been amazing. I love it. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I'll speak with you soon.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, let us know what songs you want us to cover down in the comment section, you guys. Thank you all for watching today. Thanks to my guest, Ms. Emily Davis. You are an amazing songwriter. Remember, guys, good things happen when you take the time to listen. Thank you all. I'll see you guys later. Love you all. Thanks for being a part of the listening room tonight. My name is Eddie Booze. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notifications, and give the video a like. We'll see you guys every Monday through Friday right here at 6:30. Take care.